Welcome back to Morning Joy, where truth matters. I'm Keith Downey, your host, and I'm thrilled to introduce the outreach coordinator at Detroit Catholic Campus Ministry, who helps bridge the faith, community, and campus life together. Joining us is Anna Picasso. Good morning, and welcome to the show, Anna.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. And Anna, I first read about your ministry's tradition of distributing small bottles of holy water to freshmen. It's such a cool and such a positive action that I felt needed to be shared with a great audience. Now, could you maybe share with us how this awesome tradition began and what inspired it?
So for the past 3 years or so, we have been distributing around hundreds of holy water bottles across college campuses. So Detroit Catholic Campus Ministry serves 4 campuses in the Metro Detroit area. And our chaplain, Father Matt, had a wonderful idea to collect the bottles that are given out during the Chrism Mass that are blessed by Archbishop Vigneron. And we decided to take those, purify them, and to kind of transform them into holy water bottles to hand out on campus.
Wow, that's incredible. 4 campuses. So you really have an incredible outreach to these new students. What have been kind of the reactions you typically receive from students when they come up to the table at campus, whenever the 4 campuses, like what kind of interactions are you having with them?
Yeah, they're always very interesting, usually very positive, actually. Most of the times they come up and they ask, what is that? Or can I have? Some of them come up and recognize it automatically and go, is that holy water? And so there's quite a bit of mixed reactions, but overall, they are very open to conversing about it, which is great.
Yeah, that is, and I'm just thinking, there's probably some individuals that might have fallen away from the faith before they head on over to college, and they see this and are instantly drawn to it because they know that that's something familiar to them as they embark on something brand new as college. I remember my first few days at college. It's kind of, it's a little bit nerve wracking. So to have something like that is just so inspiring. Now, obviously, holy water holds deep spiritual symbolism for us Catholics. So how do you out there explain its purpose to students who might not be familiar with it? And how do you encourage them to incorporate it into their lives?
Yeah, so often we ask them first if they're familiar with it. And on the bottle itself, there is a prayer and then a little bit of a description of how it was made and what it's used for. And often I explain it as a way to bring blessing and peace into one's life, that we use it during baptism. And that opens up a wonderful conversation about what baptism is, but also that they can bring hope and joy and peace into their lives by blessing themselves, blessing their rooms, their apartments, their cars, their study spaces. And so that it's something that's very tangible and very real.
Yeah, you're almost like planting seeds because, students will be taking them with them. Other students will see this, and it's just kind of like a snowball roll effect. That's wild. What has been kind of the thought on from your perspective and all those that are also volunteering to hand these out? How has it changed yours and their lives?
So it's a beautiful kind of tradition that we've started where students who have been involved with our ministry, they come and help out a couple of weeks before campus preparing these bottles. And it's a great opportunity for them and for myself to learn about the process of sacramentals. How do we make holy water? How do we make sure that the bottles are purified in the correct fashion? And all of that, really that care and that consideration is passed on then to their peers. So there's really this kind of, this passing on of that care for students who are younger than them, for the freshmen that are coming in. And really it's a means to open up a conversation, a dialogue. And so they can see how these holy water bottles lead to deeper conversation and hopefully deeper conversion for these students that we're meeting on campus.
Yeah, it really is a beautiful thing because if anybody has taught catechesis, like you yourself learn as you're about to teach somebody else the faith. So it sounds like that's very much what's happening there. But you're listening to Morning Joy, where truth matters. I'm your host, Keith Downey, and we're talking to the outreach coordinator at Detroit Catholic Campus Ministry, all about this incredible tradition of handing out water bottles with holy water in them. Now, you mentioned a little bit before, Anna, about the history of these holy water bottles. Could you maybe tell us a little bit more about how they're collected from parishes and their connection to Holy Thursday?
Yes. So every year on the Chrism Mass, Holy Thursday, we collect holy water bottles, and they are brought from parishes. We collect them in these giant bins every year at the Chrism Mass. And so our volunteers take them from there. We bring them back to where we are located. And even throughout the year, we have parishes coming in who, yeah, maybe they didn't use up the rest of their chrism oil. Maybe they didn't use all of it that year. And so we want to make sure in a special way too, to take care of that for them, that it's a place for us. Just the other day, actually, I had a priest come and drop off a bag of them for us to use this next year. So yeah, it's become even just a fun way for us, I think, to interact with other parishes and get them involved in the process and get them excited as well.
So this sounds like this is a multiple parish type of tradition as well, where a lot of parishes are donating these water bottles. So it's not just like the campus area, the ministry. It's just like a whole, almost like a diocese. Is it a whole diocese thing?
We interact with a lot of diocesan priests, a lot of coordinators when we go to that specific mass. So it's great, yeah, to really get them involved and get them excited about campus ministry that's happening, in their backyard, that these young people will be the future of the churches, that we are sending them off into parishes upon graduation. So we feel very supported by the community in many ways for campus ministry, but this is a very specific way as well.
Yeah. Have you ever encountered any stories related to the holy water distribution from a student who might have carried it with them through challenging times?
Yeah. So one of our students, Adalia, actually, she shared that was one of the first things that drew her in to campus ministry, is that she saw her t-shirts that said "God loves Detroit," and she saw holy water bottles on the table, and like you had mentioned, Keith, that it was something very familiar to her, and so it drew her in. And since then, she has carried it with her. It sat on the windowsill of her room in her apartment. That every year she blesses the door frames of her home, and she blesses herself entering and exiting her home as well. And it's been beautiful to see how just that one little moment has led to her stepping into deeper leadership. She leads a Bible study. She's a liturgical minister, and just like a very positive, wonderful presence at our campus ministry. And there are so many students where those were the first interactions that they had with us. They were on campus. The holy water was present. They probably got a bottle, and it continues to go with them each year. Wow.
That's such like a good light, and can be a dark area, secular colleges. It's so, it's so inspiring to see young people like know the importance of holy water, like yourself and all of the students there that are participating in this, to really go out in the darkness to bring our Catholic faith to those that might have fallen away, or, my goodness, might not know the faith in general. So what advice would you give maybe to other campus ministries or maybe organizations looking to create like these meaningful traditions? Maybe even somebody listening out there that is having one of their children go to college. Any advice for any of those people?
Yes. There's a phrase that we use a lot at DCCM, and it's willing for the one. So there are over 46,142 students that have been entrusted to us, and that number grows every year. And so when we look at that, that can be kind of daunting sometimes. Of, I'm just one person, how do I reach all those people? And we see, obviously, biblically and through the example of Jesus, that he encounters one first, that he enters into individuals' lives, that there are moments of connection before conversion, that we are invited to do the same. And so I think my advice always in approaching ministry is, of course, we want, numbers and numbers and hundreds of students to be involved, but how does that happen? It's through one-on-one interaction. And so I think any campus ministry, whether it's an event, whether it's a social after Mass, whether it's on-campus outreach, to really be honed in and realize that, we have the great privilege of meeting these students where they're at, and most of that happens in one conversation, and not to be overwhelmed, but to be encouraged in that as well. that they will remember the people who reached out to them, and that we can only do so through the guidance and the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, I was about to say it does foster a sense of community and belonging when you're out there and you're giving something to these students that are kind of out there and really the front lines of kind of the spiritual warfare in the college campuses. My goodness. Now, you're doing great work there at Detroit Catholic Campus Ministry. Where can we find more information about this ministry and what you do?
Yes. Feel free to check out our website, so www.detroitcatholiccampusministry.org, all lowercase. And you can also check us out on Instagram at UTG Campus.
Awesome. And we will go ahead and link that Catholic News Agency article in the show notes so you can read more about what Anna and the ministry have done at the Detroit campus. Wow. Thank you so much, Anna, for joining us this morning. What a great conversation. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more truth and joy. God bless and make it a joyful day.